Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jiggins Sports Talk Radio, and we have a packed show for you today. We told you yesterday that throughout the remainder of our show, since there's no football, no sports, we're going to bring you the Hall Guy segment as Arkansas. It's all about the Jimmies and the Joes in all of college sports, and we're going to talk to a few big-time prospects in 2021, big-time defensive end. Our tackle prospect, Kelvin Gilliam, out of Richmond, Virginia, Highland Springs High School. He'll be joining us at the 1:15 hour. He's got a lot of information that I think you fans might want to hear about his relationship with Coach Derek LeBlanc there at Arkansas. He's coming up at 1:15. And then to follow, Coach Pittman talked about having to hit the ground hard in the 2022 class. So we thought we'd head on up to Houston, Texas, and to Casita High School, where we're going to catch up with the biggest of all big dogs at that high school, Kam Dewberry. He'll be joining us to talk about his early recruitment. He's just a junior, but a lot of schools have gotten in on Kam really, really early in the process. It's going to be a big-time prospect. Some say he's the top junior offensive lineman in the state of Texas. And from the film, when you watch this young man's film, you probably will have a hard time disagreeing. But I want to jump over to my producer, the man behind the scenes that make everything go, Demetrius Johnson. What's up, my man?
Not much. Enjoying the day. Can't complain at all.
Big time day. The question of the day, and we'll go back to it since we're going to be on the Hall Guys segment. How important is year one in the recruiting class under Coach Sam Pittman? And, do you anticipate also, let's come up with a different question. How many true freshmen do you see having the chance to make an impact in this program in year one under Coach Sam Pittman? Send us names, who you think those players will be, and give us at least two. Give us an offensive or defensive, or defensive to offense, but at least two players that you think will make an immediate impact. And let me reiterate, out of the freshman class of young men that will be making their way to Fayetteville, if you had your choice, and if I had mine, I'm going to go on record and say Marcus Henderson will be a young man that I think is going to impact the program. And I also think Ray Curry, because I can't throw Jalen St. John in there, St. Paul, because you gave two, but those will be the two guys that I think will have an immediate impact with this football team going forward as true freshmen. Demetrius, who's your two big studs that you're going to keep an eye out on in this freshman class? That was a good question, wasn't it?
Yeah, it caught me off guard. I think somebody from the offensive line, definitely somebody from the offensive line. And I'm going to say defensive back. I think one of those freshman defensive backs ended up getting on the field. Hold on, let me pull up the recruits now.
That's a good question. Nick Turner comes to mind. He's a young man that the Hogs signed out of the New Orleans area. He looks to be a big-time prospect that should, get a real severe look at one of those quarterbacks.
So I want to say, when I look across the board, just off the page, I think Miles Slusher is going to get in there.
No, absolutely. How could I be remiss and not mention the big fella?
I think when you look across the board, you look across the DBs, that's a high impact players that we need. I know Coach Sam Pittman. I got to keep the roster in me. I always lose that name. He spoke on the DB the other day about how he played the freshman, the nickel. He played the nickel last year.
Who was that freshman? Oh, Greg Brooks.
Greg Brooks. Yes, thank you. Sam Pittman spoke on Greg Brooks a lot the other day in the press conference when we did the teleconference. I have to pull that back up to that teleconference.
We'll do that. We'll play tidbits of that coming up here shortly.
I still have it, but I believe I do. But I know he specifically mentions Greg Brooks and how he's jumped off the page as far as one of those defensive backs that he really has high hopes for. And, when you look at Greg Brooks, he was having a great year at the back end of that year.
Absolutely.
So I think when you combine Greg Brooks and some of these younger defensive backs, I think there's definitely going to be room for those guys to really make immediate impact in playing time on the defense.
Well, we know some people that's looking to make immediate playing time, so we're going to get on with our Hall Guy segment and get this thing rolling. Next up, Kelvin Gilliam out of Richmond, Virginia, Highland Springs High School. The Big D tackle's up next to talk about those halls and much, much more. It's all coming up on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
That I just don't know that we can start much faster than what we do now. I'm talking about practice-wise.
Right.
Obviously, you're doing a lot in the summer with the lifting and the 7-on-7s and all those type things, but you're not able to coach the 7-on-7s. They're having basically captain practices at that point, but I don't know how we can. We'll do whatever they tell us to do, and we'll do it and be happy about it, but I don't know how we can go a lot longer than what we are now.
With the weights, I assume, unless somebody has weights at home, health clubs are pretty well shut down, I would think. Just how these offensive linemen, particularly, you've had the weight gains, are going to be able to keep it up this summer.
I don't know that I heard the whole question. I think.
Well, just about your strength training. I mean, unless you're for now, nobody's back up here on campus. You're all at home, and I assume.
Well, we're hoping that they have access. We're hoping they have access, and that's what we're doing, calling them each day. We're just trying to stay in touch with them and make sure that, number one is academics, and making sure that we have all our kids eligible and ready to go, and then, of course, making sure that they're working out. There's concern about that because we have nutrition staff, we have meals here for them. There's concern about maintaining weight. There's also concern about guys gaining too much and coming in here out of shape, but I don't know what we can do about it. All we can do is talk to them. We can get on FaceTime, I guess, and we FaceTime them, so I guess we can see if they're putting on good weight or not, by that. But other than that, we have to trust our kids that they want to be as good as we want them to be.
As far as you mentioned Noah Gatlin, just how is he progressing from his surgery last fall?
Well, he's moving a lot better than what he did. Obviously, we think that the surgery was a success, and that he's done a lot with the team, and a lot of all the running basically, and the lifting. He's obviously had alternative workouts, but he's doing a nice job. He's a tough kid. I think he'll be ready to go by the time fall camp starts.
And finally, with Boyd, will he be on, especially kind of in the if you do get a spring practice type of schedule, will he be on a different one than most as far as being held out of contact and that kind of thing?
No, he would. He wouldn't be any different than anybody else, with the exception that obviously if we were going to scrimmage, we would limit some.
Welcome back to On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you here on KDSJ 479 from 1 to 2 p.m. It's our Tuesday edition, and we told you as we progress on throughout this time where there's no spring ball, no visits, we're going to continue on because coaches still continue to work, and it's about hitting the recruiting front so they can sit in their office, get on phones, and one big fella that Arkansas has reached out to and have made a high priority. We're about to have him on from Richmond, Virginia, Highland Springs High School, Kelvin Gilliam, the big-time four-star defensive tackle. KG, welcome to OTH, my man.
Yes, sir. Glad to be on here.
Let's get into recruiting. This time of year, summer going into your senior year, it picks up. Kevin, you've had a lot of offers here over the last several weeks. Just came out with your top list of schools you're really going to hone in on. And Arkansas made that list.
Yep.
Talk about Arkansas and how has the recruiting process gone for you up to this point?
Well, with Arkansas, when Coach Derek, offered me, and just seeing how much interested that he was into me, and him and Coach Pittman contacting me at least every day, they just had to be on that
list. Talk about other schools. Who are the other schools that are really, really, reaching out to you heavily at this moment, along with Arkansas?
Yeah, some other schools, Penn State, Oklahoma, West Virginia, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, there's many other schools.
Now, when you talk to Coach LeBlanc there at Arkansas, the defensive line coach, and Coach Pittman, what are some of those conversations that you've had with the head hog and the defensive line coach there in Fayetteville?
Well, they're always checking up on me, making sure I'm good, making sure where my mindset is in this recruitment process. And that's what it is about building a relationship. We're building, relationships.
Right.
Because, if I want to attend Arkansas for 4 years, I want to make sure that those people got my back through it all. And they're doing a wonderful job of that.
How much does social media, Big KG, impact? I know I look on social media, we follow one another, and it's just you get a lot of love from different fan bases. Do you kind of look at that as to what school shows the love? I mean, or is that just you have a lot of fun with it?
Yeah, for real. The most schools that shows love, who has the, not about the facilities, but a family-based school, who's going to really develop me as a man and as a player.
What are some things that you're going to work on heading into your senior year, Kelvin? I know you can't do spring ball right now due to the COVID situation, but what's it like, and how are you preparing for this upcoming senior year?
The main thing is for me is to be a senior leader on my team, play a great role, teaching some of the younger guys coming up, seeing what they can do and follow in my footsteps and actually be better than me and take the program here at Hot Springs to the next level. And, just working on things, to better my game.
Who are some NFL or NCAA guys, Kel, that you like to look at, maybe study on Saturdays or Sundays, maybe what they do, and then take parts, work on them throughout the week, and then implement them in your game on Friday nights?
There's actually two guys. One guy will be Cameron Jordan. He's been in the league for a long time, great run stopper and a good pass rusher with his size. Another one would be Cleveland Farrell. He was, first-round draft pick from Clemson. Now he's with the Raiders and doing a great job there. So those are two guys that I really implement that.
Kelvin, is distance going to be a factor when you decide your school of choice, or is it, when you sit down with your family, mom and dad, just make the best family decision at the end of the day?
Yeah, well, my mom and my dad, they're not like too concerned about me leaving home because they already know that I'm going to choose a place where I have wonderful coaches that are going to take care of me. And, they will have some impact on, just by the coaches staff and the facility. But, it will come down to me when it's my decision. So it's my decision 100%.
Talking with Kelvin Gilliam of Richmond, Virginia, Highland Springs High School, big-time four-star defensive tackle prospect for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Now, let's have a little fun. I'm one of those guys, if I come to Richmond, Virginia, Highland Springs High School, I'm going to go get my popcorn. I like to have soda pop with no ice, and I'm going to the highest place in the stadium. Now, we have a term called Let's Get It. When it's time to play football, when that ball is kicked off, what type of player will I see in KG for 4 solid quarters?
Oh, you're going to see a guy that shows his passion on the field. Some people are saying I played in a mood, like I'm angry, but I'm not. It's just the way I play. I play with passion, aggression, and everything that the game has done for me. I just want to give it back.
When you look at the SEC, in particular the SEC West, I'm pretty sure you've heard over the years that it's the premier division in all of college football, has several national champions over the last few years, if you can win 9 or 10 or 11 in the SEC West, you pretty much have a chance to make the playoffs. How enticing and how much of an interest did that build, knowing that Arkansas and Coach LeBlanc, someone that you highly respect, is in the SEC West?
You said on what? Oh, about the SEC. Just my ability that they're really interested in me and playing in a type of division with a really big SEC. They're number one place to live in the SEC, and it's a really competitive division that I have an opportunity to play in such a place like Arkansas.
What are you planning on majoring in, KG, once you get to your school of choice?
Either criminal justice or history.
I like those two. Now, let's continue to have a little fun. We're riding around Richmond, Virginia, KG.
Mm-hmm.
We're in your vehicle. What's the 5 songs that we're going to hear right off the playlist as we're vibing around town?
One thing is Meek Mill. If we're riding around town, I gotta roll with some Meek Mill. Maybe some NBA YoungBoy. Definitely some Kevin Gates in there.
I'm with you.
Some Lil Baby. He's hot right now. And what more? Some Lil Uzi.
So, me and you vibing big time when you're playing all those, especially Lil Baby and the NBA YoungBoy. And Kevin Gates. I'm with those 3. But thank you for taking time out. And we're going to have one last question. And I know you got a busy day ahead of you. But when football is done for Kelvin Gilliam, he'll be doing what with his life afterwards?
When football is done, I'll be doing something that'll be extra important than playing football. Is that teaching, serving the community, FBI, things like that.
Well, Kev, hey, feel free to come on our show, and we'll continue as we might start a little, a diary with you at least, once or twice a month. Have you come on and just take us through your journey. But for now, my man, have a blessed day, Kevin, and thanks for taking time out here on OTH.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was 2021 big-time defensive tackle prospect Kelvin Gilliam out of Richmond, Virginia, Highland Springs High School, a major prospect as Coach Derek LeBlanc is the lead recruiter and doing quite the job on this young man. As speaking before we came on, he has a very high interest in the Razorbacks, and I want to flip it over here to my producer and my scout because he watches all the film during the show. And Demetrius, when you watch KG, what jumped out about number 62 on film?
Just a guy that, like you said, very aggressive. You see his passion. A guy that has as the NFL Scott say, a high motor. And just, again, a guy that can really plug up and is not scared to put his face mask in somebody's chest.
He did kind of play with that nastiness. I was watching film last night, and, I don't think Arkansas, and it's no disrespect to the talent on this team, but Arkansas hadn't had those type of guys on that defensive line, Demetrius, that we've seen over the last few years that play with the nastiness, and the disregard for his body. He's always in a bad mood when he gets to the ball carrier. Arkansas hadn't seen that, and I agree with you. KG really displays that as a very high level and will be one if he chooses to come to Arkansas. He could be a young man that I think Coach LeBlanc will not hesitate to put the big fella out there as a true freshman. But we're going to take a quick break, and the whole guy, it don't stop. We're going to head to Houston, Texas, Anacostia High School. We're going to talk to big-time 2022 prospect offensive guard Kam Dewberry. He's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
That would be the same way with Smith and Hammonds and Spivey. We would have a number of carries that we'd want them to get in the scrimmage. He obviously wouldn't get as many carries as some of the other kids that haven't shown as much as he has. But no, there wouldn't be any limit other than that on him.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Noted.
Hey, Sam, a couple of things. I think Trey kind of hit on one of my questions, and I'll ask it a little different way, but who's maybe a leader or two on offense? Who's shown the best leadership on offense and defense? And then I have one more after that.
Offense, I think Mike Woods is a guy that's done that. You have several on the offensive line that, but just right off the top is Stromberg, Clennon, and Cunningham. Felipe Franks has done a good job along with KJ Jefferson. I tell you who works hard is Jack Lindsay and Jones. I mean, them guys work their butt off. But leadership-wise, probably more towards Franks there. And on defense, Catalan has done a really good job with Mason. Those guys in the secondary have done a really good job. And then probably at the linebacker spot has Ben Morgan. Poole and Henry are a little bit limited. We expect them to be really good leaders, but Edwards, Morgan there, and then on the D-line, Marshall's been the one that's stuck out the most as far as leadership goes. Coach has probably been the one that stuck out as much athletically. He's a big athletic guy that can run now.
Okay, and then also, Coach, this is kind of speculating, but the camps are usually in June. Football camps for high school kids coming out. Are those still being scheduled, or is that up in the air too?
Well, they're up in the air.
Yeah.
We obviously have dates for them, but who knows? Who knows what's going on? We're in contact with the high school kids. We're, basically it's, hey, when this all breaks up, come see us, and when, and they understand it too. They get it. I do think it was very valuable to get high school kids on campus before this started, and we offered several in the 2 junior days we had. I thought our coaches did a really good job of getting talented kids on campus, and Callie and Maddie did a great job of organizing our junior days. I thought they went really well, but I don't know exactly what's going to go on. Obviously, nobody does, but
right,
it's all going to be different.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Hey, Bob.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of your coaches. I think you said some stuff about these guys, but Brad Davis, I know he's a guy you have a long history with. Why was he a good guy with his staff, and what do you think he brings to the table?
Well, hey, I trust him. I know he's a great person. He's as good offensive line coach as there is in the country. And if you go by jobs he's been offered, he's as good an O-line coach as anybody in the country. Because he's been offered a bunch. He's been offered some since he's been here. But most of the time, good O-line coaches are good coaches. Most of the time, they're good recruiters. They're good communicators. And a guy that's a good recruiter usually becomes a pretty good football coach because he's got better talent than everybody else. And so that's the one thing about Brad. He's one of them guys that means a lot to. That he's a people pleaser. He wants to please whoever he's working with, and he wants these kids to be as good as they possibly can be. And it's kind of a thing inside. It's kind of in the makeup of who he is. And I really think I think he's as coach as there is.
And then Jimmy Smith, I know he's a Georgia high school coach for a long time. How long have you known him, and why was he at it?
Jimmy, I've known for 5 years. Jimmy is exactly what we needed at running back coach. No nonsense guy, but a guy that can to his players. Exceptional recruiter, and I needed a guy to recruit.
Welcome back. We're momentarily reaching out to Kam Dewberry. We're trying to have him on today. I know kids have a lot going on, scheduled for 1:30, but if we can get a hold of him before the duration of today's show, we will have the big fella on to talk about his recruitment to the University of Arkansas. Lead recruiter Brad Davis, doing a great job. And Demetrius, that's the one thing you and I have noticed. Is Coach Pittman in his press conference from day one always felt like Arkansas had to get bigger on the lines of scrimmage. And with the kids that we're starting to see, it's starting to be, it's showing to ring true, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the one thing that Chad Morris did do that I think a lot of people won't give him credit with the way everything ended is the recruiting class and the type of bodies that he was beginning to bring in and usher in after that Brett Bielema. But I think the beauty of this new staff is they've even showed you another level of evolution that,
right.
I think Chad Morris kind of really started. He was bringing in a lot of those 3- and 4-star guys, but I think you're going to see Sam Pittman bring in a lot more 4- to 5-star guys. So I think he's really took what Chad Morris has and really amped it up on steroids and really got a great supporting cast that isn't scared to do just as much work,
right.
if not more, and go get the equal amount of kids with the same caliber that Sam Pittman is able to go get throughout the state of Georgia and Florida and Louisiana and things like that.
What do you think Sam and his staff have done, differently to get the brand of Arkansas out so quickly? This is a program coming off a 4-20 campaign. They've not won a lot of SEC games, but Coach Pittman and his staff have come in and really put Arkansas put its best foot forward in these kids, and they're making a lot of the nation's elite list when these kids are starting to narrow it down.
I think Sam Pittman took a different approach than a lot of other guys. I think a lot of guys, even when you look at Brett Bielema, kind of took kind of gimmicks and catchy catchphrases and things to get the fan base on. But I think really what separated Sam Pittman is he has the ties and understands the state of Arkansas as a whole,
right.
from a youth standpoint, not even from an adult standpoint, but just growing up as a kid, watching the Razorbacks, not going too far, and just having the history and understanding of the heritage that Arkansas
right.
brings from a selling standpoint. Because if you don't know the history of Arkansas, you really don't know how to sell it in all the unique things about the university. Because Arkansas is kind of like a hidden gem, even within the SEC. There's a lot of history that's and not even just football. When you talk about Arkansas as a state and as a whole, from the light and exposure it gets on a national level, it's really kind of put to the side when you look at all the other southern states. When you look at even when you consider Texas, from a media standpoint, there's a lot of media exposure. And I think Sam Pittman just understands the value and key things to really shine light. Like he uses Walmart to the best of his ability. He uses the big brand names and understands that there's nothing like a Razorback, and he uses that to his best ability. The closest recruiter I can really say, and I didn't even know him, but he gives me the same vibe as Houston Nutt. He gives me that same, hey, I'm going to make you play for one thing, and that's the state of Arkansas. You're going to be a team player. We're all one. And I think when you can exemplify that, guys have an easier chance of jumping on your page and really getting with your program.
And you look at the areas that Arkansas, under Coach Pittman and this staff, the states that they're starting to really try to get into: Virginia, New Jersey, Maryland, California. These are states that they really didn't try to put their best foot forward. And that's no disrespect to the previous staffs. It just boils down to possibly not having the types of relationships that you have to be able to go into those types of areas. And when you put Sam's staff together with Brad Davis, Derek LeBlanc, Ryan Rhodes, and the list goes on, Kendall Briles, John Cooper, Jimmy Smith, Justin Stepp, Sam Carter, and Scott Fountain. When you put that group all together and just being around them, Demetrius, we had a chance to have a sit down the day after signing day with these coaches, and you get it. Coach Davis said it best. It's going to be hard to tell this staff no as a prospect, because they are such great builders and developers of talent, and it will be a situation where I think these kids will get developed on the football field as well, and it's going to be a hard deal. Arkansas, I think, as this staff continues to gain relationships and can put in place a culture here in Fayetteville, I think it's going to be something that's going to be very attractive for future prospects, don't you think, Dick?
Absolutely. And, I think not only do these guys know how to maximize everything outside of football, but they're coaches that understand the game. You look at Kendall Browse, anybody from a high quarterback prospect, anybody wanting to be looked at from an NFL standpoint, if you come to Arkansas now that these coaches have those type of ties that can really get you looked at from a national standpoint. And I think a lot of people forget it's not all about how you play on the field, but the relationship ties to have the NFL scouts come down and look at you. But I think with the history that Sam Pittman's had at places like a Georgia, places like a Oklahoma, where you see high draft picks and a lot of NFL to college relationships built, I think you're going to see that with Coach Sam Pittman. You're going to see a lot more NFL scouts come down and want to watch these players. And you haven't really seen a lot of that the last couple of years. We're in the press box each and every game, and it went from from the Petrino era having 7 to 10 scouts a game to going to that even that Bielema era where it maybe dropped down to like 6 to 5, but then you went into another era where there was maybe 2 to 3 coming. And I think you're going to see more to that 8 to 10 going back when Sam Pittman, especially from an offensive line standpoint. I think scouts understand that if you come to Arkansas, you're going to get a good lineman. And I think understanding that, you're going to have coaches that normally wouldn't look at Arkansas, come here and look at Arkansas and find some unscouted talent that Sam Pittman is going to bring on the team.
Well, we're going to take a real quick break, and hopefully we'll have the big fella on. We'll let you hear more of our teleconference that we had, our media availability with the head hog, Sam Pittman. For those of you that didn't get a chance to give a listen, we'll throw that out there, and then we'll be right back to close this thing out and hopefully close it out with the big fella. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
Was the first guy that came to mind when I was in the hiring process. I need a running back coach, and I also need a great recruiter. And I've been as pleased as you possibly can be with the way he's handled his room. They respect him. He knows what he's talking about. He was athletic director at his school as well. So he understands how to handle people. And this is an exceptional football coach, and his future is bright, bright, bright. But I've known him for 5 years, and we wanted to hire him when I was at Georgia, just wasn't able to because we didn't have a full-time job there. But he did. He interviewed there, and he was outstanding in that interview. And like I say, I've known him, known his character, known what he's about for 5 years, and I'm really, really glad that we were able to hire him here.
You mentioned Dorian Gerald. He was a guy obviously had a health scare at the start of last season. How is he physically cleared for everything, and how's he doing, and how big a piece could he be in the rebuilding process, this coming season?
Yeah, Dorian is cleared. He is getting in much better shape. I've had one-on-one conversations with him about what we need him to do. He's a guy that could be a strong leader for us. The kids look up to him. He's getting his quickness back. He's getting stronger. I really like the kid. I think he's smart. Good guy to have in that D-line room. So, yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think he's a guy that could be a heck of a leader for us as well.
One more, if you don't mind. I know you're a people person, like you said, but, the video of you walking around the hog pen, I saw that the other day. I guess you were looking for a hot dog or whatever. But, being the way you are.
Welcome in. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. And before we get to the big fella, I told you we was heading to Houston, and we were going to look for the biggest human being in the city, and we found him. 2022 four-star big-time prospect for the University of Arkansas and Brad Davis, Kam Dewberry of Houston, Texas, Anacosita High School. KD, welcome to OTH, my man.
What's good?
Let's get into it. You've been highly recruited, Kam, and it goes all the way back to your sophomore year. We followed each other on social media, and It just seems like even from day one of your sophomore season, you've been heavily recruited. Talk about that recruiting process and how that's going heading into your junior season, KD?
It's been really crazy, but I've been focused on the things that I can control and just keeping God first and stuff like that.
Arkansas comes in with an offer. I know the previous staff under Chad Morris offered you as well, but this staff comes in and does a re-offer. You have a pretty solid relationship with both Coach Brad Davis and talk about that relationship and, just what is that relationship like going forward?
It's good, and I'm really close with all those guys, and we all, we all close. And it's been building really well because Coach Pittman recruited me at Georgia. Coach Davis came in one day. We sat down and talked. It was great. First time ever meeting him, I fell in love with him right away. Not like that, but with his coaching style,
right.
And it was really good.
Talk. That's a good one, KD.
I had to make sure.
When you talk about Coach Sam Pittman having recruited you to Georgia as the offensive line coach down at Georgia, and then Coach Davis at Missouri, he recruited you also to Missouri, and then comes to Arkansas. They both recruit you to this school. With Coach Pittman being an offensive line coach himself, now turned head football coach, I mean, how much does that play into your interest, heightening even more toward Arkansas?
It does because, having a head coach, that's been coached as an offensive line coach, that means he's going to know the scheme really well. Offensive line is going to be strong regardless because, he's a past offensive line coach, one of the best in the country. So that's how the schemes are going to be really well, and he knows what he's doing on the offense side of the ball.
With spring ball not being able to take place right now due to the COVID epidemic or pandemic, what are you able to do? What's the workout plan for Kam Dewberry at this time?
We got, they sent us a workout plan at home. So, really, tomorrow starts the shutdown of the city, so we can't really go nowhere. So I'm going to be able to, just do, some workouts at home. I got some equipment. Now I'm going to be able to work out with, some weights and stuff like that. Just got to stay in shape and keep my feet active always.
When this COVID situation is finally lifted and we get back to some normalcy, what schools do you have you planned on trying to get out to, either unofficially or officially? I know your sophomore year you got out to Alabama, A&M, LSU, a lot of different schools. What schools do you have planned to get a look at that you're really considering?
This summer? Eventually, I'm for sure. This summer, I'm going to Fayetteville. I'm going to be down in Arkansas for sure. We just don't know when yet. And that's all I know for sure right now because there's the 5-star challenge, and we don't know when that is exactly. So, I just know for sure I'm going to be down in Arkansas in summer.
Talking with Kam Dewberry, big-time 5-star, 2022. I said 4-star, but this kid is a 5-star. I'm going to give him the extra star myself. He's a big-time prospect. And what are you going to be working on heading into your junior year? You've got 2 more years of high school football, but Kam, what can you improve on?
Honestly, I feel like I can just perfect my pass set all the way to the best that it can be because you can always perfect that, and be more of a leader. That's what I'm gonna try to work at going to the junior year. Last year I went. On them. So, it's been really, really, really crazy.
Talking with Kam Dewberry of Anacostia High School out in the Houston, Texas area. When you look at what you're looking for in a school, you'll have, like I said, 2 years to study, get online and look up as much information. But what are some of the things that you're going to be looking for, Kam, in your school of choice?
Someone who can, the school that can connect with my family, because they got to be straight. So I got to know that they're comfortable with me here. And just somewhere I know that I'm going to get my degree in what I want to do in life, and somewhere that I know I could come back to.
What do you plan on majoring in once you get to the collegiate level?
I'm not sure yet.
I understand that. Now, who are some of the NFL or collegiate guys on the offensive line that you like to watch, Cam, and study, kind of put parts in throughout the week and then add them on Friday nights?
I like Trent Williams. I watch what's his name, the tackle from Alabama. I forgot his name. He's number 74.
Willis.
Yeah, and I watch Orlando Brown. That's who I really watch a lot.
I can see that in your tape. That's funny you said that because that jumped out to me. Now, let's have a little fun for those that have just tuned in here on KDSJ 479 on the Hill. We're talking with Kam Dewberry, a 5-star 2020. And I added the 5th star to this young man. And if you guys out there, Rivals 100, listen to me. He's a 5-star, I'm telling you. But we're riding around in your car in Houston, you and I, just having a good old time. What 5 songs on your playlist will be the first 5 that we hear, KD?
I'm open to all types of music. Usually I listen to, I like Roddy Ricch, so that's what usually be playing.
My producer, he's a Roddy Ricch and NBA young boy.
Yeah, that's what I listen to.
Now, we're going to close this thing out, and I'm going to say 2 things. I'm going to find out with 2 questions. I'm coming to Casita High School. I'm going to buy a Coke, get my popcorn. My pop has to have no ice in it. Cam, I'm going to the highest seat in the stadium because I want to see when that ball is kicked off, what type of player am I going to see in number 75, Kam Dewberry, for those 4
You're going to
quarters?
see a different type of person. When I get in my game mode, it's just a whole really aggressive, like non-passive type player.
So you go from the nice guy to the mean guy in a heartbeat.
Yes, sir.
I like that. I like that. Well, final question, Cam, and want to thank you for taking time out. But I want you to finish this statement for me. When football is done, for Kam Dewberry, he'll be doing what with his life afterwards?
Probably possibly be a coach.
I can see that. You got a coach's mentality already.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, hey, man, this is feel free to call this show anytime. Cam, I think what we're going to start doing, because we got a lot of time with you, is we're going to start doing a little monthly diary twice a week, maybe getting on and kind of just seeing how KD's doing throughout the football season. All right?
All right, Coach.
All right, Cam. Thanks for taking time.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
That was Kam Dewberry, 2022, and I said 5-star. They have him listed as a 4, but when you watch this man's film, he's a 5, and I'm going to get you some clarification. Demetrius, when you saw KD, what jumped out?
Just a guy that knows how to finish to the whistle blows. A lot of offensive linemen you see nowadays, they do their first initial contact, and that's it.
No, and Mr. Terry Roy, he said Atascocita High School. So I got it right, and he broke it down. Thanks a lot, Terry, for sending that in. He broke it down. He spelled it out just right. Atascocita. Hopefully, we'll be able to say that quite a bit. But finish what you were saying.
Here, we'll be saying it a lot. But one thing about Terry is he knows true talent. Even for him to come in and say, he's seen this kid play before out there in Houston. Terry knows a lot of the top upcoming recruits out in that area with his nephew, Devon Whaley, coming out of that area. He follows a lot of those recruits. But just like I said, this is just a guy that really knows how to play through the whistle. Like I said, you see a lot of guys make that initial first contact, and that's kind of it. But this is a guy that runs through it, loves to have pancakes, loves to get that physical hand-to-hand battle with you, loves to just be a physical offensive lineman. Sometimes you find those soft offensive linemen that just like to put their body in the way. But this guy likes to see himself drive you in the ground. I think that's a different type of mindset. You can't coach things like that. That's a different type of tenacity that you either got it or you don't. As Pat says, you either gonna bite when you're or not at all. So.
And Dimitri, the thing that we've noticed, and we've watched a lot of these kids' films that Arkansas has extended offers to, and the thing that jumps out in those lines of scrimmage, both the offensive and the defensive lines, is the aggression in which these kids play, the nastiness, the violence that has to be played with on the lines of scrimmage in the SEC, because it's a line of scrimmage league, and you got to have the Jimmies and the Joes if you're gonna make a big time push to that SEC championship.
The worst it is two sophomore DBs down there with 10 offers each. We might have to check those out.
Yes, we will.
I want to say, Mr. Roy, if those are those young men you had told me about earlier this year and sent me the Rivals video, I did get a chance to watch them and those young men can play. So I will
So we'll be on it.
Dropping a little egg in somebody's ear. But
all right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here on OTH today on our Tuesday edition. And once again, it is Taco Tuesday. But I'm going to tell you where to go and who to thank for this show being possible. With that being said, first off, Lindsay and Associates with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. And lastly, my favorite, yes, you know who it is. They're located down at 989 Razorback Road. Get on down and see Keith and Kathy. Go get a plate of that love at KDK's Chicken. And as they say, it's not your mama's, the best chicken and waffles in the South. Meet me there or beat me there. But I'm on my way, and I hope you are too. For our guests, I want to give a thank you to Kelvin Gilliam of Richmond, Virginia, Highland Springs High School, big-time 4-star defensive tackle. Arkansas made his list of schools he's going to continue to keep an eye on by way of big-time recruiting efforts of Derek LeBlanc, the D-line coach. And lastly, Big Kam Dewberry of Anacostia High School in Houston, Texas, the 2022. I gave him an extra star. I call him a 5. They say he's a 4, but we'll go with my 5. All that. Want to give a thank you to them. And lastly, my producer, Demetrius Johnson, and myself to you all for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with more. You know what we're going to do. Put the hard guys on you. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one, and let's get it.
Baby God.